And there you can already see Great in the background saying, hey, we got to ban this way. We can't allow this to happen again. Asylum and Vaskar. You already know Asylum's one of Hive's best maps, but the way VQ has been playing, they're almost like a mirror version of Hive, although I do give them the upper hand this season around. It's going to be an aggressive game. It should go around 8-9 rounds, possibly the distance, if both teams are playing to their full potential. And then Vaskar is a map that I do believe could heavily go in way of Vanquish, because obviously we go ahead and give them a round of applause for their slaying power, how aggressive they can be, but they do have players that know how to sit back, pull out their pistol, pull out their Lancer, and play Gears of War team game. So when it comes to Training Grounds being a tiebreaker map, I don't think we will see it here today. Things like that, but there's still a potential. Any given Sunday does happen.
So my thing, we see Training Grounds, it's up in the air. That was the map that decided Thursday Grand Finals, went to round number 9. Hive ended up taking it. So if it goes to Training Grounds, VQ might be in some trouble, or at least it's going to be a harder run than they expected. So they need to pop off on Asylum, and they need to take their map pick, of course, which is going to be Vaskar. And it makes sense. They're so good on that very map. So let's get into our predictions, because you know what? I'm just going to throw it out there. For me, I've got to go with VQ. I think VQ is going to lock it up. It just makes sense for me. They're just so strong. And I know they struggled I say struggle. It went down literally to round 9 last map. But I think VQ is going to come back even stronger. They're not going to be throwing out any crazy strats. It's down to business. Let's get to work. Let's get revenge over Hive. But Jacob, what do you think?
I just judging off kind of like what you said. Obviously, I have my prediction, but I think you kind of said it perfect. Hive, in order to win this matchup, is going to have a monster of a shock. He's going to have to perform above and beyond yet again. And to me, I'm thinking to myself, how many of those performances can you have in a row? And because of that, I'm going to have to go over and put my pick over to VQ. They have been consistent. They have been a dominant team, and they have been aggressive, and they do it as a full 5-man unit. If Handles is not going off, if Vital Sam will, if he's not, someone else on that team will step it up, and we will see a possible 2-0 finish here today.
All right, well, we're both VQ. Chat, what are you thinking? Let's take a look at it. I know the poll was up there, and it looks like it's going to be VQ. I think everybody right now is thinking VQ, but that doesn't mean that Hive is really out of the predictions yet. This is the thing about Hive, man. Hive is a team that's scrappy. When they get together, they work and they wolf pack. The team chemistry is there. They're powerful. We've seen that time and time again. Now, I will say, during the first week, last week, 4-split won, Gears Pro League, Hive did not look good. They were struggling. They were lackadaisical. They definitely were not looking like the Hive that we expected to see. However, they seem like they continue to improve, and that makes me excited because, like you said, they can slay out with the best of them. That's what they were known for, the young, scrappy team. Very, very talented, and that's what they're still known for. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Jake. What makes this roster that much more impressive and getting the victory over VQ on Emergence days, I don't think Hive has a coach. Am I mistaken?
I don't think they have anybody that's really stepping up, or at least to the public, where me and you, I know. I do know Fatal Strike, when it departed the team after that season finals. Crazy Train took a little bit of a step back. So, and you ask some of the players, they didn't even think some of these coaches helped their play style. So I can see why that you don't have a coach now, or at least right in your head. But you have to find somebody. You have to find that sixth man that you think will help your play style. Whoever that may be, who knows? But until then, I think Vanquish will always have the upper hand in this matchup, because they have somebody, not only just anybody, they have one of the oldest coaches in the game right now in Great. And when I mean oldest, that's just experience throughout every Gears of War title.
All right, well, here we go, off to the races. Like I said, Hive needs to take this map. If VQ wins it, I think it's going to be a 2-0. Already, though, VQ is going to strike first. They're on Alpha, they're on Bravo. They're not going to push into C as of yet. They might. They're set up to do so. Player 4 will drop player 8, so the opportunity and the potential is there. That's why Hive is going to go ahead and rotate back. But I like this. VQ is baiting them out. Player 9 is going to be soloed out in a 1v2, getting Lancered, and that was perfect. Shock goes down. That was perfect play from VQ.
Yep. And I would say the train might have been a blessing in disguise for this Hive squad, because right now they're staggered. They only have 4 people up, waiting for that 5th member to get right back into the action. If that train wasn't there, that's VQ probably pressing forward yet again. You know how aggressive they like to be, so now this is going to slow down. Hive knows they need to spread out the numbers for VQ. They're sending 3 loaded tracks, 1 underneath where Tidy is at, and 1 towards the top side. But right now they have to wait for that train to come through, but I don't think it's going to be the train they're looking for. It might be double trains or train on the left side, but that push. Even though it's going through for Hive towards the center, it's VQ pushing through, making sure that you might take B, but it's not going to be without losing your home hill.
Sells, you got to pick up that kill. Luckily, he gets it. He will get finished off, but still, bit sketchy of a fight. I like that VQ did, in fact, go home to home, so they're going to maintain that. Player 7 is going to be in a 1v1 versus player number 1, which is going to be Precision. Solars, though, will clutch up onto Handles. Continue to back up Precision, who looked as if he wanted to kind of advance forward. Hive will take their own home hill. VQ, though, got a nice sized lead, just over 70 points. So Hive is going to set up and probably try and hold off defensively, right, as players 1, 2, and 5 are going to push up. So if VQ can retake B right here, right now, they're going to take this first round for sure.
And the thing about this right now is you're right, they're going to have to retake this neutral hill. Trains coming through, it's going to be double trains. I don't think this is the play to go ahead and try to break it because you're going to have to run into the Lancer, but they're actually going to go ahead and try for it anyway. Solar's going in. He doesn't have any space, gets taken advantage of by the 2 Vanquish members. I told you, Taylor, that was not the play. There wasn't enough room, and I was going to say Vanquish had all the time in the world to go ahead and try to make it happen, and they actually do. There goes another kill by Precision as they keep the ball rolling. Win condition in there. Top side, less than 10 seconds remain, and round number 1 is going to go in favor of Vanquish, and pretty convincingly, if I may say myself.
Wonderful work from the boys of VQ to take that first round. And you know what I liked about that? It was controlled. VQ didn't get overzealous. They didn't try to make any flashy or crazy plays. They let Hive push into them, use their Lancer fire, slow them on tracks, and take them down. More importantly, when they did go for those overextensions, they did it in a controlled fashion that didn't allow for a lot of bloodshed. That was very, very good on VQ's part. Hive, hey, they were right in it as well. But this is the thing. Is VQ going to turn it up a notch? We have seen that they can do it in the past. That was a very passive, slow round for them, which, you know, we've seen them do. But for the most part, they love to get aggressive and get in your face. So it's interesting that VQ is slowing it down. But I'm curious, will they stop having that discipline and eventually start pushing up straight into Hive? We're going to have to find out.
Yep, you already see the point lead going to go into Vanquish's hands early on. And you talk about that passive gameplay. I already saw 2 people pushing back, falling into position, but that capture is going to go over to Hive, so they're going to get that lead overall. Precision does go down. I do believe that revive was quickly put through by another member of Vanquish, but there comes the rotation. They're going to have to rotate the top side. They're wasting no time doing it. Leading the charge is going to be Reptilian. He comes from PDHM last season. He really made a name for himself, but he gets taken down along with Handles, Demise, Shock. They're putting a stop as Precision falls, as well as Hive is beginning to show some life.
Cell's pushing up. Oh no, Demise catches him off. That's 4 down. Hive off to the races at this point. They're going to be all over Charlie. The Reptilian's going to try and get this break. He's going to go straight in. He'll be flanked, and that's going to be the utility used, but still up it seems. Trying to be scrappy, getting in there. Precision will pick up 1, make that 2. Exovios will pick up Precision, so they'll stop that. But I gotta say, VQ gave it their all. They got some breaks, they got some big kills, but it wasn't enough. Hive will take that in just a bit in 13.
That was going to be a big win for Hive. They controlled the game. They got the early eliminations. It's about continuing on, especially at these long respawn timers. This is the round where things begin to get a little shorter. You see teams begin to second guess themselves. Do we go ahead and pressure setup? Do we go for the triple cap? Another round of Slay? So on and so forth. So that's when you begin to see setups fall apart late in the game. But we're not there just yet. We're at that weapon selection screen, and just like you see every Asylum map so far, we're going to get smokes upgraded in towards ensigns for both of these teams.
All right, got those ensigns. We know how deadly they can be, so we'll see how much of an impact they're going to have. VQ, though, they're going to go ahead and cap their own home hill alongside that of Hive, who's going to have that extra point. It's going to be VQ, so theoretically, Hive has to make the first move, but hey, they're already ready to go. They've got player 6 of Pavilion to lock that in. 2 and 5, they can't really push up. They're going to get Lancered out from player number 6, which is going to be Exovios. So at this point, it's just damage control. Try and damage it as much as you can. While the boys on the other side for VQ maybe make a move, but that's a great connection on the Tidy. And another one's going to be thrown out. Cells, he might push this, and Exovios actually leaves Pavilion. So believe it or not, VQ is getting this break.
This is the typical VQ strategy that you see. Usually they're all aggressive, all out, and here finally we're seeing a play that resembles the VQ we know and love. They go aggressive towards the backside, and I like they didn't pay attention to the hill until they got the slaying kills. Reptilian's able to get one, bouncing around, make that two. Has an opportunity at 3 and Shock, but you know this man. We talked about it before the game. He's somebody we're looking to be a superstar for Hive. He puts a stop to what Reptilian was doing. That was 2 kills under his belt, but now the answer from Hive has to come through. They trail 20 points, but it's early on. They have time to answer back.
Definitely time to answer back. Still early. VQ, minor lead so far. Hive looks to push them back onto tracks. They do have the man advantage, even though I say that there is going to be an overextension. So VQ is going to totally give up B. They're going to allow Hive to capture that with Demise. They're committing a lot here for this overextension. My problem is if Hive decides to push through that smoke, it's going to be dangerous. Handles are going to be at the forefront to get those chunks. But the issue that I have is VQ is now opening themselves up to maybe get counter-wiped. But I say that and then make an audible play. It seems as if it was all a ruse. Handles now picks up a big kill. Tidy's going to clutch up. That is massive because if Tidy doesn't get that kill, then VQ is threatening a triple cap. Possibility still, but either way, though, that pressure that was applied, Jacob, allowed VQ to stay in control and gain more of a lead.
I like what VQ is doing. They're showing, even though they're so aggressive, like we keep saying, they're showing so many different signs of improved teamwork. Those Lancers are out. They're making sure to hold positions, hold alleyways, not let anybody pass through, instead of the Vanquish that really got them there versus all those other challenger teams. These rounds were ended pretty quick due to shotgun fights, but now you're going up against the best of the best, and you have to show a different hand, and they're doing a good job here. You see multiple members of Hive stacked towards the top side, even one underneath, so 3 members already teasing a home hill to home hill push. Xovio's getting taken out. They gotta go or it's over.
Target my mark.
All right, big break. Vital backing up. Tidy's gonna fall. Solar's as well. That looks like it's gonna be a round for VQ, man. They're in control. They're looking good. Hive was able to take that last round. VQ answers back to bring it 2-1. And what a powerful statement it would be to go into the second half leading 3-1. It would make them feel good. As I do look through the list, though, Precision is absolutely leading the way. 10-5, 2 deaths. He is looking solid. I'm liking what I'm seeing from him. It's good that he's able to step it up. And we expect that from Precision because there's a lot of talk about him, Jacob.
Yeah, I think one of the things that now that I'm thinking about it, it's kind of hitting me right now. These two teams are very, very, very similar in play style, how they like to play the map, how they like to run around as a unit, as going shotgun first, Lancer second. But I think one of the biggest things right now is VQ. They're going all in. They got themselves a coach. They're practicing every day, putting that extra time in public games, pickup, singles, UMG. I'm not sure on the other side of things that Hive is necessarily doing everything right. You got Shock who's trying to juggle 2 games at once. And you can kind of see, not saying that they're necessarily playing bad, but you can kind of see that what the difference is between these 2 teams.
Cells on tracks. Now just going to try and Lancer out. Solars and Tidy. Nothing really going to happen there. The biggest focal point now is going to be Pavilion because the Hive members do have that option to go ahead and go into player number 5, which is going to be Vital Sam. He's set up to counter this. I was kind of curious if I was going to go through, but it looks as if VQ is actually going to take the reins. They're going in. That's going to be some big trades. Shock is going to stay up but quickly dropped off. Vasel's going to be there with the Lancer. Precision now is going to take off where the other VQ boys ended up leaving off. But the problem is now, there was momentarily 3 down. So VQ has to be careful here or Hive is going to take off with the round. Precision, though, doing a great job trying to fight it out. He does get dropped in his cells as well. So that's a great hold from the boys on Hive. Something we needed to see. They've got a nice size lead. They still maintain the objective. And because VQ isn't 5-member strong, it's going to be hard for them to make this push on B, but it looks as if they're going to get shut down regardless.
Wow. That was perfect by Shock, creating that mismatch opportunity, making his 1v1 in front of him, run to the other side so they could 2v1, and then they immediately took another 2v1, and then this time they're taking a 3v1. Hive is just absolutely on point late in this game, and this is what you got to do, especially when you're trailing 2-1. You don't want to go down into the half 3-1 like you were talking early on. They want to tie it up here 2-2. They have a commanding lead, doubling up the score of Vanquish. So now when we talk about what Vanquish has to do, they have to push forward. They have to make sure that they not only get these hills and neutralize them, but solidify the eliminations as well. You can't let nobody from Hive sneak past and get one of those hills late.
Absolutely not. And that's something that Monkeys was doing so well in the first matchup versus Elevate. He was getting behind the flanks and he was punishing Elevate. And much the same here. Hive cannot allow that to happen. And the same thing for VQ, right? But this is VQ's chance. They're making the most of it and they're pushing in strong. Handles will get chunked, but no worries. You still have those two players on tracks. They finish off play number 7. Solars will fall. If I'm Hive, I'm trying to break through. I'm trying to get the C. But a good reaction from Reptilian. He now pushes on the streets to not allow that to happen. Hive, all they have to do is maintain their home hill. VQ, though, unfortunately looks as if they're being a bit too sluggish for this push. I don't know if they're going to have enough time, and it looks as if it's going to be a standoff.
Standoff's not good if you're Vanquish. Those two hills are going to mean absolutely nothing here in 13 seconds if you don't break through. Reptilian goes down. Acel's is sneaking past. A couple of kills are going to follow. Just 6 seconds needed. The hills are broken. Acel's, you could be a hero here for your team, and he gets no, he actually does not get the elimination. Demise and Tidy actually do, but Precision again. We've seen him last season. We're seeing him here again. He is a playmaker, and he's doing it. Shock shuts him down though. Last second effort. Hills being decapped. Dovio 6-3 on the neutral hill, but these two hills, it actually gets reset, and I think that right there, the reset on the capture, is going to be what propels Hive in this round to tie up the series 2-2.
Oh my lord, are you kidding me? Just 3 points separated these two teams. That break was so monumental for Hive. They don't get that break. They don't win. Plain and simple. That was so close, a nail biter. But for Hive, they can breathe a sigh of relief. They're going into the second half, which is honestly their preferred half. They love that streets fight. They keep it 2-2. It keeps them right back into it. Shocks are going to be placed. Of course, we have those incidents from earlier, and we're right back into it. Tied up. It's anybody's ball game, Jacob.
In the game, VQ, that was a huge attempt. Even though you did lose that round, you have to take those little battles, those little victories, and kind of use them to gain yourself the confidence. But you already see the difference in strategy playing out. Hive going all in for this hill on E, or at least the positioning towards the top side. It might not have been the right choice. Zovios is met with an instant. But one thing I know Blaze like to talk about, Colin, you and I, usually when you're finding yourself using your utility first, you're not necessarily in the best spot to solidify this hill.
Okay, VQ is going to be the first one to get that touch on the E. Smokes are out. Solars is there. That's going to be an instant and a shock. So at least they baited that out. I think that's pretty important. So now VQ are going to be able to push up freely as soon as those utilities end up dissipating. Plus, they are 4 strong, especially play number 5, Vital Sound, decides to join them. At this point in time, though, it's going to be at a standstill. I do expect VQ to push in. We'll find out. I mean, they're just taking their time, but there's going to be that first utility thrown. As I said, they baited out the utility of Hive, so they have that added shock, so it's going to be an easy cap.
There's a lot of damage. It's coming through the middle. It's coming through the back end. I do believe Acel's has to be careful. One of these guys might not have any damage remaining due to that cross that came out from Hive. Handles needs to be careful as well because he's getting shot up. That was actually him. He passes out. A little bit too much pressure. Precision, though, and Vital Lord, they get a couple of downs. Elimination coming through for Shock as well, but the damage was done. Those downs are cleaned up. Precision and Reptilian are going to go ahead and attack the home hill instead. Waste no time here. Catching Demise out of positioning. So even though it was Hive who got that hill on E, it's going to go ahead and go 2 hills still in favor of Vanquish.
Oh, Shock is so good. He continues to hold his ground. Like I said, Shock is going to be so monumental if Hive wants to win this. But VQ now starting to take over once again. Got their home hill. They've got the neutral. And Hive is back to the whiteboard trying to draw up a plan, figure out what they want to do. Of course, those fresh utilities are going to help once they get them. But for the most part, VQ is going to be happy with the standoff. Hive's not going to waste any time. They can't. Tidy's going to push in. He's going to go ahead and get that decap. Not going to get the full. That's fine. They're just going to go ahead and at least stop the bleeding for now and then wait to formulate a real plan, a solid push as they get their troops back.
I feel like Hive has to do one of 2 things here. You have to sell a fake push to get the other team in Vanquish to use your utility, fall back, wait for it to disappear, and then you go ahead and push in with your own. Or you need to find a way to dodge not only some incense, some shot grenades, but you need to push through, get these eliminations, then you backtrack for the hill. Because simply going for that hill, you're kind of giving it a toss-up for a 50-50 who is going to come out on top. But it does look like instead of either one of those plays, Hive is looking to stretch their numbers out, stretch the defense from Vanquish, find their opening, find somebody out of positioning, and then strike.
All right, well, we'll find out if that's going to be the case. VQ wins in just 45 seconds. Of course, that's still plenty of time. And as long as VQ doesn't capture E, Hive can still be at the standstill and have the opportunity to push up and you know, at least allow for a little bit more patience. But they are running out. Now 30 seconds remaining. Time goes very quickly, especially if you're not making a move. But there's the move. Hive pushes in to try and capture E. But that is a beautiful instant connection onto Shock. Precision answers it back with Tidy getting chunked. And that's VQ taking over the neutral. They've got the win condition. They're going to take it in just about 5 seconds. That's GG. Bring it up 3-2.
Yeah. See right there, I kind of said that's why I wanted them to either push through or bait that utility out early, because as soon as they kind of had no time on their side, you saw them throw their Shock across. It got matched by Carnage, and then by that time, the whole center is shocked off. You can't push through. You can't get any eliminations. You can't get the hill. The middle of the map is too far to rotate to. By then, you kind of just exhausted all of your options. So timing is of the essence. It's something I kind of harped on very, very early on in Gears of War 5's life cycle, but I guess I got to go ahead and harp on it again. You guys got to stop wasting these little seconds because they're crucial in the end.
Absolutely, man. Because you know what? Just like what was it, round number 4 that came down to literally 3 points. That's what, just a little over 1 second. At the end of the day, you cannot waste time. You just can't do it. I understand being patient. You do have time, especially when you see 45 seconds up there, but eventually it's going to get to the point where you got to make a desperation push. First instance is going to be thrown out of the way. It doesn't connect. So once again, we're going to see some wasted utility. Not the biggest of deal. The Shock still is there. But at this point in time, VQ has that point lead once again. So Hive theoretically has to make the first move.
So right now, VQ has to be very careful here. They only have that Shock grenade as utility left. Hive throws theirs, gets answered back, and that's going to be Solar's. He's just skinny enough. He skipped last night's meal. That's why he's not getting hit by that Shock grenade. He's tucking that gut in, but now they have great positioning. No instants on the side of VQ. No Shock grenade. A well-placed smoke, though, I will say that. An answer back of the instant. I don't agree with the instant placement as his cells just quickly takes advantage of the misroll coming out from Shock. So what was a great play by Hive to get all that utility wasted, just kind of thrown right out the window by that instant placement and a misroll by Shock. So every time I think Hive is doing a good job, they kind of toss it out the window.
Demise going to pick up that fresh Shock. That means Hive might be wanting to strike here, but VQ is going to push up. So this is the thing. They're going to be at risk of getting separated from their team, especially if that Shock is a good connection, a good throw. They might not be able to use it. Zovios, he picks up a couple of big kills. He's going to get picked up. His cells will also fall. Handles down a clutch position. He's going to go down as well. That's 3 out of the way. Hive gets to break. Overextensions there, but no worries. Shock is going to easily pick up Reptilian. Vitosem last alive, and Hive has a decision to make. Do they hunker up and just stay put where they are at, or do they push forward? Seems like they made the smart decision. They're just going to wait for VQ, get their troops back, and they're going to deal with them a second time.
It's going to be interesting. Vanquish is kind of showing their hand by making this rotation. You're allowing Hive the opportunity to rotate around, but be careful for number 1 and number 3, both Reptilian and Precision. They're going to be the players that kind of have to simultaneously push up top, but it does look like they were just going for that extra bit of positioning low side. Now their numbers are going to rotate towards top side. Precision has a Shock grenade, a Cells with a instant grenade, so an opportunity here, but they just need to be careful. A down does come through. Precision getting first blood for Vanquish. 2 hills in favor of Hive. They not only gained the lead, but they upped it by roughly 30 points. So not only does Vanquish have to get this decap, they have to get the capture as well, and time is not on their side.
It was a great dodge for the instant for Tidy. Now he has his own instant to answer back, and it's going to be a valuable one, especially if Hive decides to go for this break, which of course they will. If he can connect on a Reptilian, that gives him away from the advanced position. He can push up, and that Shock's going to be thrown a little bit too far. Oh no, Tidy! You knew Reptilian was there! You could have avoided your teammate dying as well! That's just a misplay.
Wow. And where you see one, you see the others. Vanquish does a good job of just wolfpacking around the map. There is the final elimination coming out from Handles, as all 5 are wiped off the side of Hive. 4-2 as Vanquish. They're taking a commanding lead, and even in these series, even if the scoreline is close, it's Vanquish who are controlling the tempo, controlling the pace of the game, knowing that, hey, this team has to throw the utility first. That gives me an option of what I want to do. Do I want to answer back right away, or do I want to bait them in and then try and get those eliminations?
I'm glad you brought that up, Jacob, because, you know, it's been an influencing factor. And for me, VQ has been doing a much better job at baiting out the utility from Hive, because once a Hive, you know, just kind of throws out the utility, for the most part, they really don't even take advantage of it. They don't even push onto E, and even if they do, they only get a decap, if the first initial is already done, or they get on it and they cap it momentarily, but then it's quickly answered back by another shock and instant from the boys of VQ. Hive needs to kind of hold back a little bit and just chill out and not just throw it out there as much as possible. Same thing with drop shots. Some people get drop shots and immediately just shoot them out like candy, like you mentioned before in one of our first casts, and all of a sudden drop shots out of the way. Utility drop shots, so valuable if used correctly, but if used incorrectly, it's just a total waste.
I like the attempt to come through from some of these cheeky angles of the grenade tosses, trying to get over the top, over the cover, but sometimes you guys just get the kill. Just get that instant up there, try to make it happen. A well-played shock. I don't even know if that was a team shock. That might have been a team shock. Yes, Solars gets the down on Exovios. And that's Exovios to me. Just getting a little bit ahead of himself, getting greedy. Probably thought he saw an opening on an elimination, goes for it, but gets taken out instead. Well-placed instant, returned by Shock. The members of VQ have to push through. They're not trying to backtrack and get that extra bit of damage, but Shock, the brick wall that is Shock, makes it happen. I do believe that was a huge triple kill to come through, at least a double right on screen. He's going to get himself the hill as well, and with 1 point separating this, that's also going to give Hive the lead.
Good. And there's nothing better than, making a big mistake like Solars did, throwing out the Shock, and Exovios getting a bit antsy and dropping himself. But there's nothing better than once that mistake is made, then a teammate clutches up like that and keeps you back in the game, or keeps you in the game regardless. So right there, Shock once again, just like he did on Thursday for Emergence Days, bells out the team, and Hive will maintain the lead and the objective. And it looks like they're not making it go to, or letting it go to waste. Solars, he's going to Lancer down Vital Sound, finish him off with an instant. He's going to push up. Accel's going to be there. If Solars can pick up Accel's here, that's going to be 2 for him. He can't. That's unfortunate. But even so, though, Hive's still in the driver's seat. But I got to say this, VQ right now are making some good plays.
That's one of the things I've always told teams when I'm coaching them. One of the hardest things to learn is just going along with the strategy of another team, just listening without really thinking, and just wolf packing as a team. Because I'll continue to say it, sometimes you can make a bad play, but if you're wolf packing as 3 or as 4, you can make something out of nothing. Not saying that was the case here, but that just reminds me of how well Vanquish is working well together. You never see anybody caught out of position. You never see anybody by yourself. A well-placed instant going to strike as Reptilian gets one, and there it goes. Precision with his shock grenade, able to clean up Exovio. So now a 5v3 for just a few moments here as they try to go ahead and solidify their defense on this hill.
So the more that VQ is in control, the less of the chance Hive is going to have to win this round. And Precision is doing such a great job in conjunction with his teammates, just keeping them back. Tidy was the first one, Shock was the second, and at this point, Hive knows they need to push in. That's going to be a missed shot. Correct me if I'm wrong, did Shock just throw that Shock and literally shut down his own lane of attack?
I want to say yes, I really do, but Shock has been playing well. I want to say he doesn't have those type of blunders, but only time will tell depending on who picks up that next bit of utility, but it's being dominated by VQ. They're on match point. They're looking to close out the map. Tidy is able to get 2, but he needs this capture. This is late in the game, Taylor, but look, an overextension coming through from Excels. He's going to get the decap, and that will be the win for Vanquish. Woo.
And the extra shots in the body for good measure. 5-2-2. My lord, man. Let me say this first and foremost. A lot of those rounds are very close, Jacob. A lot of those rounds were very close. Hive had the potential to take a lot of them and keep it closer than the final score made it seem. But this is the thing, though. We've seen a lot of misuse of those utilities. Shocks downing their own teammates. That was Solar onto Exovios. Exovios got a bit too antsy, pushed through. That's just miscommunication, bottom line, period. I'm pretty certain that Shock was the one who threw the Shock at his own feet. It was a missed throw. Ends up shutting down his own lane. That wastes a valuable couple of seconds. Granted, they do get the break on E. The overextension is what won the round. I know the neutral was a focal point, but it was the overextension that won the round for VQ. But even so, though, there was a lot of misplays that Hive was making, and it bit them in the butt in multiple rounds. And VQ, they're not going to make mistakes like that. So that's the thing, man. I don't know if it's nerves. I don't know if it's miscommunication. I think it's a lot of it's miscommunication, but that can't happen for Hive, Jacob.
It definitely cannot happen. And I know we talk about it week after week after week when we're breaking down this map on Asylum. That up top fight, it's the mind games. It's the push and pull when it comes to those utility grenades. You want to be the team to kind of save it as long as possible and let the other team use that first. But sometimes we understand that there's situations that can't be the case. But I just see it left and right. They're just throwing flashes out. They're throwing shocks out. And they're not pushing up and making plays after it. You can go ahead and get your team or the other team to waste their utility, and then you go ahead and answer back with your own. But we've just kind of seen both teams just kind of chuck them up together at the same time and hope for the best.
That first half, though, was exciting. I mean, dead even. I think that was the round where, VQ looked as if they were going to win it. Hive ends up taking, that was the fight. They end up winning by literally 3 points. Exciting stuff. But second half, without question, it was all VQ. They didn't lose it. They ended up winning 3 straight. There was just too many mistakes from the side of Hive. And that can't happen. It just simply can't happen. And VQ played well. They really did. I got to say, I'm impressed by their ability to stand back. They weren't as aggressive as we're typically used to seeing them. So they are learning, they are adjusting. Now, whether that's great or just the team in itself just developing, I am impressed. Hive, I think, was expecting, especially Shock, right? I mean, Shock, he's just excelling off of those chaotic moments, those chaotic fights. And we've seen him pop off here on Asylum. The rest of his team just couldn't back him up. But this is the thing, though. I think they were expecting VQ to be in Hive's face, but VQ never gave him the pleasure of doing that. They hung back, and Hive had to be the first one to make a move. Maybe that's why they were making so many mistakes.
And this is exactly what you got to do. This is why you hire a coach like Great. They get that game plan ready, that strategy, and it allows for different looks. It allows you to kind of focus on playing. And to me, right there, that it showed it. You saw in previous weeks, qualifier weeks, things like that. They are so aggressive. They get in your face, and that's probably the team Hive was expecting to play against. But as you said early on, and it started in round number 1, it was very heavy Lancer play with a couple cleanup kills from Shock, and obviously that developed over the course of the match, but it just showed the different looks that Vanquish can give a team, especially if you're preparing for a team that might be one-dimensional like Hive is, where they play a lot of aggressive shoddy fights. If you have that trick up your sleeve, you can go ahead and place that trap card down and they'll fall right into it.
And this is the thing, Jacob. We mentioned how important it was for Hive to win Asylum. That was their best chance to take this series to a game 3. Now the reality is they're going into Vaskar, a map that VQ very rarely loses. And let's talk about the people they beat. I mean, they beat Rise on Vaskar. They beat PK on Vaskar. I do believe they went toe-to-toe with UIU on Vaskar. Either way, they have beat literally like the top 3 teams in the world. With that being said, like it's just going to be such a difficult run for the boys on Hive. Not out of the question. Every dog still has a fight in as long as they are in it. But this is the thing, though. I just think it's improbable. I think this is going to be a 2-0, and VQ is going to take it.
I think one of the biggest things that we might see here is a possible drop shot placement, force those heavy team shotgun fights. And Vaskar, you put that drop shot down towards tank, you will get just that. Some players have to sit back at Lancer, other players have to take that positioning with their shotgun. But the thing that is common is it's a team fight. You kind of already saw the separation, Hive getting aggressive. You need to force those team fights to where, yes, it's going to be a focal point where you see the smokes going down early, the flash is going down early, then it's turned to incense and shock grenades, but that drop shot will really able to give the different looks as a squad, not just as an individual unit going somewhere. But it also starts early on before that drop shot does get placed. We know how Vaskar likes to play clockwise, counterclockwise, and making those defensive stops, definitive defensive stops, or great offensive plays. But you need to be careful through the home hill as well. It's just many different things to look after when you go into Vaskar.
100%. And to break it down even further, not specifically about Vaskar, I'm going to reference a team that was very impressive last season. That was Fire and Ice. They played so well. They had this hot streak where they were looking so good. Krabby's was a big influential factor for that because when he popped off, the team would fairly do well. I mean, how could you not if Krabby's is popping up? But this is the thing, though. The rest of Fire and Ice, there were times where Krabby's would pop off. I mean, just destroy the enemy team, no troubles at all. But the rest of the team would be sluggish and fall behind to the point where that performance from Krabby's was absolutely wasted. And I'm getting much the same vibes here on Asylum from Shock. Shock is popping off. He's doing his job. He's doing his part. But the rest of the team is falling a bit short, making silly mistakes. That cannot happen. Shock is going to do what he's going to do. He's going to pop off. The rest of the team, I'm going to be honest, they just need to do subpar. They just need to come in there and just support them as much as they can, and they'll have a much better fight versus VQ because Shock is doing so well. So as long as the rest of the team can be okay, Hive is going to be okay because Shock is going to be there. But if the rest of the team doesn't support them, they're just going to fall behind. Vaskar is a slay-heavy map, like you said. So hot and heavy with the Nasher kills, the shotties. Bottom line period, that's going to happen. And you better hope that the rest of Hive is ready to go toe-to-toe and support and back up Shock in those regards.
I mean, I think that's well said. Even though, like you said, it's a very aggressive map, you have to get in your face before, after those initial fights. You do set up as a team, and when you go ahead and push right back in, you're going to need somebody other than Shock, realistically, to go in, try to get some quick kills, try to make some rotational plays. I'm looking at Exovios. He's been a monster for this team so far. Demise, they have the players on the team to do it. It's just about stepping up to the plate and knocking it out of the park. So far this season, I have not seen it from Hive. You talk about that fantastic match on Emergence Days that shows that they have the potential to do it. It's about consistency and unlocking that potential when these big moments occur.
And see, this is the thing, E-Days is a lot of fun to watch. I really enjoy casting it week in and week out. And of course, yourself and anybody else who comes on, whether it be Blaze, Colin, Ryan, Ribs. But this is the thing, though. E-Days is a much different story than Pro League. And we can really see that prime example is Pittsburgh Knights. Pittsburgh Knights have been not playing very well whenever it comes to E-Days. Without question, they've been getting beat by teams they should not be getting beat on. But when it comes down to Pro League, they don't lose. Even though it was a close series versus Carnage, Pittsburgh Knights doesn't lose. And this was my worry with VQ versus Hive. VQ did lose that close series versus Hive, but it was on E-Days. Pro League, VQ's they're not going to make those mistakes. They're going to come in, they're going to play like VQ. We're accustomed to seeing VQ play, and now Hive is seeing the results of that. We need Hive now to come through and play like they did on E-Days for them even to have a shot. Either way, though, it's going to be a fun one. Vaskar has the potential to be the last map here for tonight, but who knows? Hive could surprise us like they did on E-Days on Thursday and take this map, send it to a Game 3. It's a possibility.
It definitely is a possibility, but we know how this map plays out. Sometimes we think it's going to run in a counterclockwise rotation, but one team does like to surprise us. This time around, I do believe the Swarm team, which is in VQ, have the upper hand on this initial. They send multiple players over towards that neutral hill, so not only are they going to get their home, get those early points, they're going to get that neutral hill to kind of gain them, but there goes those players from Hive. That counterclockwise rotation is already in effect.
All right, here we go. For the start, Hive's going to have that early, plus they have the favorite spawns, so they're going to manage to get Alpha and Charlie Precision, though, onto Exovios. That's going to push Solars back and allow the boys on VQ to get that break onto A. Meanwhile, you do have a 2v2 happening on Charlie, so this is a very real possibility where we could potentially be seeing VQ take an early lead, a massive lead, especially if these fights go their way. The only benefit for Hive, though, is they will stay alive as player number 2 has rotated down and he got the break on the B. But either way, Hive, you better start warming up those Nashers and go big right here, right now.
Nice little escape route coming out from Demise and Tidy. Unfortunately, these players bite off more than they can chew. I think Demise, did he get down there again? He did. He even got cleaned up. 3 players are dead from Hive. So a good start coming out from them is being answered back finally from Vanquish. They got the 2 hills, one of those hills being Hive's actual hill. So once Demise and Exovios come off respawn, they're going to have that spawn shield. They're going to have an opportunity to press forward.
Pressing forward, they will.
Actually not going,
Hive, that minor lead, but it's going to fall to the wayside. Now you notice VQ, they're stacked up very well defensively. You got 3 players on A, you got 2 on C, and Hive has to make a decision. Where do they want to push it? Well, they're going to go ahead and send 3 over towards A. The problem is they sent 2 prematurely. So now VQ is going to be ready for it. Player 8's down low, so he needs to get up there and join them. Hive needs to make this push right here, right now, because they have the mismatch. They've got the 3 versus 2. Player 8 is still far behind. Of course, they don't know that. They're taking their time. And now I fear that as soon as Hive pushes, they're going into a 3v3.
This is not looking good. They're a little slow. I always talk about timing being of the essence. Luckily for Shock on the other side of the map, he's going to hold down that neutral. That allows that 4th player in Shock to rotate over and possibly threaten this hill. He got the backup. Demise is there as well. A couple of shots being traded through. Even though Exovios did get taken out, the damage has been done from Hive. They go ahead and decap that hill that was once Vanquish's, gets the capture, and they're threatened for triple cap domination as well as they now reach the home hill of VQ.
It's going to be a break onto B. A tank fight. You got player 4 is going to be on the other side. Solar's looking to pressure them back. Vital Sam will get Lancered out and not finished, believe it or not. He'll get picked up. Actually, he won't. He does get finished, but even so, though, 3 will drop off the side of Hive, and that's scary. VQ now, they got the man advantage. 4 members to 2. But It's all about what they do with it. This battle for B is still underway, and Handles is trying to 1v2 this. A bit of a misroll. He'll get chunked and punished. Does Hive continue? No, it's going to be VQ who's going to have that advantage. But I mean, I feel like VQ could have gotten a much more value out of that because Hive is already ready to push into A.
You need to be careful though. Tidy somehow got a flank. That's going to be a big decap coming through, especially this late in the game. He's going to possibly need the capture as well since they trail 10 points. But a slur of Hive players are going down. Make that 4 total kills. Tidy, he's going to need a miracle. He's going to need the hand of God, and he is going to be denied both as VQ not only shuts him down, but shuts down the Hive team as well in round number 1 of map number 2, and it only took him 3.5 minutes.
But still, though, 3.5 minutes, look at how much was committed on both ends. There was a lot of lives committed. And the thing is, Exovios being at 2 out of 4, that's going to be rough, you know, because if you fall too far behind, especially off those initials, Hive then has to make a decision. Do they want to continue to throw money into, you know, a fire? You just don't want to do it. And the thing is now Hive, if they lose a couple of critical fights, are they going to continue to respawn back in? We'll definitely find out. But for VQ to take that first round, it was a long one, but it's got to feel good to finally strike first. They're going to be on that favorite side as well. So utilities will start getting built up, and we'll see how this works out.
Yeah, I think early on that those flashes in round number 2 are going to play a little bit of better help for Hive over there with smoke coming through from Vanquish. Unless they use them in a unique way, you know, Cloud, whole passageways, try to block and push through as a team. But when it comes to overall play, I do believe Vanquish is kind of showing that their Wolfpack playstyle is kind of dominating right now. And you see again, the early downs coming through. Precision knows he's not getting shot from the side because he has his team's backup. Make that 2 kills. Vital's able to get a 3rd. Precision goes and locks in a 4th. That leaves all by himself is Solars. And I like the way the opposition is playing. Handles down low. He's not letting him get a 1v1. And he's even getting in the hill. He's going to have 4 Solars to him. And if he doesn't get this kill, if the break, he is going to lose the round. And VQ in 42 seconds take their 2nd round. So in under 5 minutes, they're already up 2-0.
Yeah, this is looking very, very strong for VQ, very weak for the boys of Hive, and something to be expected. We know how strong VQ is when it comes down to Vaskar. But now the question is, we know instants are going to be there. They're going to be built up. Actually, maybe not. Okay, I thought they were going to play something over in Rivals, but the reality, well, they might. I don't think, Tidy is really debating this. What is he? Okay, so he's got the smoke there, opting out to actually place down the instant, interestingly enough. So VQ is going to have that instant kill potential. Meanwhile, on the other side, Hive isn't going to have that luxury. And Hive is also going to be thinking, if they go down 3-0, what's the play? Traditionally, it's a drop shot over at tank, so they're going to be even further behind in utility.
Yeah, I don't like it since the way they've been playing these 2 rounds as well. They're using their utility and not necessarily pushing all the way through. So if you would have got a shock or instant instead of that extra bit of utility, it matches your play style a little bit more. Blocking full passageway, being able to funnel the team one way, and you strike as a full 5-man roster. But unfortunately, they're going to stick to kind of what has been going on for them, that utility placement. And so can they chain together those utility with baiting out some of these kills? But now it's going to be VQ pushing in. They know they need this decap because Hive is slowly getting a tick by tick to gain that lead. Revive coming through. Exovios with a flank. He gets shut down. Precision gets one. Shock, one of the big hopes for this squad, gets shut down as well as Reptilian lands himself a double kill as 2 hills are being captured yet again for Vanquish, and possibly a 3rd here in a moment.
Yeah, this might be through. Well, Player 9 is going to be left up to his own devices. Reptilian's going to be looking at a wall of Hive members. He's going to miss that first shot. He's going to back off. Shock, though, is going to be there, so potential for Reptilian to go down is going to be there. The Lancer Fire will drop him. Shock gets the finish, or I should say Solars actually gets that finish. Either way, that's going to be a good pickup. At least Hive stays alive, right? Because they're at risk of the domination. But now how do they thrive? Well, it seems as if they're going to Wolfpack over towards C. VQ is going to answer by pressuring onto Shock by himself. Player 1's going to come back along with player number 4. So it's going to be a fight onto A for sure. It's a matter, can Hive hold it down?
Position for a nice defensive stop here. They don't have anybody on respawn just yet, so no flank going to be able to come through. But you see players already sneaking past. It's going to be a 2v2 on one side, 3v3 on the other. Demise gets taken down. That leaves Tidy all by himself, but he's doing a good job buying time. Nobody's pressing forward for Vanquish just yet, but on the other side of things, they are. They want this decap. They get it. They take out Exovios. They're going to go ahead and try to fight off Solars, but he makes a good cutback, able to get that elimination. He's going to try and prolong this fight. Reinforcements come through from Shock, and Solars and Shock hold on to that hill, but the other other one. Their C is going in favor of Vanquish. So every single time, and I mean every time, Hive makes a play, gets a decap, they are already behind because Vanquish put a stop to that.
Hive needs to get together. They're going to be in a mismatch 4v3. Player 6 has an opportunity to make a move. That's going to be Precision now trying to push up baby steps. He's going to push straight in to player number 4, who's going to be sandwiched, but believe it or not, he does take one down, but Handle's going to get the pickup. And now you got VQ all over the hill. 1 and 5 have broke over. They're going to be on C. So the benefit for Hive is objectively, they're staying ahead of the game. Even though VQ is making these impressive pushes, they are not taking control of the objective. They're only getting one hill at a time. Player 9's going to try and get the break by himself onto B. He's going for the decap, but he's going to get sandwiched. Eventually, you have to think he is going to fall. That's Reptilian now. He might get player 1. He's not going to be able to get player 2, but he does get that decap. I'll be honest with you. The effect there was much bigger than I thought it would be. And now you have VQ in control of A and C and the win condition.
I would say on the other side of things, that's a big 1v1 for Exovios to win. He doesn't have any lives left. As I say that, he's down. He's out of the game. Adios. 4v5 is going to continue in favor of Vanquish. Solar's going to be able to get 2, but he gets shut down. Numbers game seeming to work out in favor of Vanquish this late into the game, and in just a few seconds, they'll get themselves their 3rd consecutive round in map number 2. They are pulling away with this one in terms of round, but each and every one of these are so hard fought by Hive. It's just that extra inch that VQ has over them that they're pulling away. I don't know if it's exactly their Wolfpack scenario or just how clutch these players are playing in this match, but Hive needs to think of something.
Best series score so far was 10-2, and that was PK versus Elevate a little bit earlier after they got a 5-0 victory on District and a 5-2 victory on Training Ground. So VQ can't beat that result, but they can at least tie it, and that would be an impressive victory for them. The 5-0 Hive would definitely be an answer. You know, the storyline coming into this was Shock versus VQ, as well as, you know, can VQ get revenge? Well, they're well on their way to doing so. Precision's getting antsy, man. He pushes up. Vital Sam is now by himself, and that push was way too reckless.
That's the start that Hive absolutely needed in this one, but early on, Exovios gets taken out, so once again, he is on his last remaining respawn this early into the game. That's not a good look. You could easily put your team in a 4v5 scenario, but not if Solars has anything to say about it. He was able to get 1 kill, trying to get this hill, trying to get the points back in his team's favor. He spots Reptilian running away, so they know that rotation from Vanquish is coming. It's just a matter of when.
So C's going to see a lot of attention to Cells is going to fall. Get that finish, Demise. Get that finish. He'll pick up the meat shield, but puts himself in a bad position. Full red, he'll drop. Reptilian now will pick him up, much like he did just before. Tidy is going to fall. This is big, though. Xovios on his last life, Tidy on his last life as well. And you look at VQ, no one close other than Vital Sam at 1 out of 4.
And take note, like you said, Xovios on his last life, he has to play careful. Look at him on the bottom left. He's kind of sitting in no man's land. So even though he is alive, this is almost essentially a 4v5 the way it's working, because Vanquish knows he's in this bad spot. Now Tidy's in this bad spot. They don't realistically have to do anything. Just let these players of VQ one by one funnel in. Shock gets taken out. Solar's going to fall. Demise is out as well. And the last life for Tidy looking like it's going out the window. Adios, you are gone. Vanquish looking to steamroll and take a 4-0 lead.
And look, the bottom line, what's the deciding factor? VQ has all the respawns. They can throw everything out there. Hive doesn't have that luxury. So VQ, what are they going to do? They're applying that pressure hard. That's why they came off that initial strong. I said it was a bit too reckless, but I get it now. Even though they lost their lives, they were able to come back even stronger because they knew that all they had to do was pick up anyone from Hive, and that's going to drop them dangerously low in respawns. Because of that, Vanquish now is in a permanent 5v3. They've got a commanding lead, and you already know how Vascar works objectively. No one from Hive is going to be able to get on all those hills. Player 1 is going to be the last one up so far. VQ's off to the races. They're pushing in on to Exovios to try to hold his own, which that was an interesting fight. I'll give him that. Exovios looking to pop off, but it's not going to work out. Can't blame him for trying to get a highlight reel, but either way, VQ up 4-0, looking to make this a short series.
Over here thinking in my head right now, what does Hive have to do to get back into this one? I'm thinking 3 Hail Marys. Maybe some donations.
Maybe 4.
Maybe 4. Maybe some donations to the chat.
Sacrifice a goat.
Something. Maybe a rain dance outside. Hopefully it's raining where you live, because if it's not, You might be out of
Definitely
luck.
raining here. It is raining here. I will say that.
Ooh,
so you know what?
There you go.
Hey, Hive, come over here, do a quick rain dance. No, don't do that because it's going to waste too much time.
Definitely, and that's not on your side. 4-0 though, Vanquish. They're going to have a complete and utter meltdown if they're looking to lose this one, or at least that's how it's been so far. 4-0, like we've said, Hive have to play perfect, and this is the round it starts.
Perfection is the key. Perfection's not on these rosters, but that's going to be okay, though. I think VQ's still got a good handle on it. Only benefit is now, of course, all respawns are back to normal. That's something that was hurting Hive off the start. Shock there for Reptilian. We'll just stay there. Why not? Hey,
okay with that.
It feels good, apparently. He'll get picked up, but he still gets the full cap. So you know what? I get it. Hugely beneficial. But now the big storyline is going to be on D because look at Hive. They're wolfpacking 4 strong into 3 players from VQ.
Wow. That was a big kill by Shock, but an even bigger instant from Precision. If Shock gets out alive along with Solars, they have that man advantage. They have position. You can see one player down towards low side, but this is Vanquish's spawn, so they can't overstay their welcome here because that player that they did eliminate is going to come back off of respawn with spawn shield and look, sorry, to make them pay.
Tidy trying to dodge the Lancers. Not going to happen. He will drop. VQ now still in control. And you notice Vital Sound, Reptilian trying to hold back Shock as well as Solars. We'll see Reptilian lose his life, but Vital Sound is still going to be up there. In fact, he's going to have some extra added help, so they're going to push up. Shock's going to stay up here. He doesn't want VQ to take that position, and he's doing a great job lancering and doing everything he can. If he can get a pick here, that's going to be hugely beneficial in stopping VQ from pushing forward. Solar is actually going to be there to push up as well. So a little bit of a bait and switch. VQ continues to push up. Bit of a misroll. 1-2 punch, but actually Precision gets out of there alive. That is big. Solar's demise gone. Zovios gone. Shock gone. Tidy gone. Hold up, all 5 members gone. Are you kidding me? I didn't expect that. VQ will take it 5-0. Overall 10-2 score for the round count. And VQ gets revenge from E-Days over Hive. And they keep that flawless record.
I feel bad for Solars right now. I feel so bad. That melee I thought was for sure a kill. He probably hit 99% there to go ahead, but you got to give it up to VQ. That's a 5-0 domination. That's a 2-0 sweep. And to me, they are one of the hottest teams to come out of North America this season so far.
Oh, without question. Without question. VQ, the top NA team. Actually, I think if I'm not mistaken, at least as of last week, the top 6 teams were all LATAM besides VQ. Yep. We'll definitely see the results today. But man, you know what? VQ is just unstoppable. I mean, plain and simple. Like I said, the only team, I guess, outside of Carnage to shut down PK is going to be VQ. They just look unreal. They're playing so well. I'm really disappointed in that series, though. I'm going to be completely honest with you, Jacob. I wanted more from Hive.
I definitely did. They're a team that I said coming into the season, it's almost make or break. And the way they've been playing right now, I would love to have seen them almost go through that qualification process to see if maybe that is it. Maybe they had a slow start to the season overall when it comes to getting back into the swing of things after that final major. These other teams, they've kind of been playing throughout the qualification process, but you and I both know, even Colin probably sitting there yelling at me, don't make excuses for these guys. It's exactly right. That is no excuse. You're here to be the best of the best. You need to practice like it, you need to play like it, and you need to carry yourself like it.
And this is the thing, man, no excuses whatsoever. I mean, this is the thing. If I had watched VQ stomp on Hive, nonstop, whether it be Pro League or E-Days, I would be like, okay, whatever, it's to be expected Hive is going to lose. But this is the thing. Hive beat VQ on E-Days, and I understand the comparison between E-Days and Pro League. But the fact of the matter is, Hive showed great potential. They showed what they were truly made of. I was incredibly impressed. That's why we hyped up this series so much. That's why it was the show match to finish off the night. We knew we thought it was going to be a good one, but Hive was just very flat. They were absolutely flat. Anytime they went up head-to-head versus VQ, they were getting outslayed. You see that replay there. Tidy last life, Exovios last life, and we know how it ended. It ended with 3-4 players being completely wiped off the map for the side of Hive. VQ, you just couldn't stop them. It was a different series of maps. The only map that was played on E-Days that would have been played in the series would have been Training Grounds. We didn't see Vaskar. We didn't see, of course, Asylum off the start. But the point is, though, Hive is a great Asylum team, but they were beat 5-2. I understand Hive losing Vaskar. They're just not a great Vaskar team. But I mean, still to be 5-0'd, it just doesn't make sense. Like I said, overall, I'm disappointed. I went from being so impressed by Hive to so disappointed.
Yeah, I'm beginning to think Hive's issues are kind of like run deep within maybe some of these individuals. I don't think as you had some of the best coaches coach this team, you bring in some of the best players with Solars and Shock. I think Hive's problems are almost root deep, probably to kind of how their fundamentals of playing the game are. And I'm not saying that thinking, Hive's a bad team, because obviously we know they're probably still one of the better teams in Gears esports. But when it comes to going and taking out some of the upper echelon teams and doing it convincingly, doing it time and time again, I almost think there's something fundamentally wrong within the team. I would almost like to give them the opportunity to coach them, but I don't think I'm ready to come back into the game in a coaching aspect. But I would love some sort of like behind the scenes look of the squad to see what is going wrong, how their practices are going, how they if their practices are even structured. That's kind of like what I would love to see out of this Hive squad. Like I said, unfortunately, I'm not ready to step up to the plate. Maybe somebody in Gears esports is out there ready to step up to the plate and try to coach this squad.
I hope so. They need something, because that right there just wasn't a performance. And this is the thing. If they were a bad team, like I'll be honest with you, I would just play the role of cast and be like, oh, it is what it is. VQ takes it, but it's kind of expecting it's VQ. But I'm not playing that role. I'm not playing that narrative. And the reason why is because Hive has so much potential. There's such a great roster. But